On February 8th, we are going to see a very different country. Something's going to happen that day or just 1 or 2 days after that. We're going to have a major court case. By then, we'll have primary season underway. We are going to have international things that have happened, of course. Some of that's just not really predictable, but politically inside the United States, I need you to be alert because some things are going down you need to be aware of. Let's jump right into it. Welcome to the Poplar Report. I'm Steve Poplar. I'm an accountant by trade, but we cover things on this channel that affect you. And if you're in the United States or if you're impacted by what happens in the United States, you're going to need to pay attention. So what's happening on February 8th? Well, the Supreme Court has agreed to listen to the case of basically Donald Trump versus Colorado. Colorado decided to take Donald Trump's name off the primary poll. So he's not on the ballot in Colorado. Now the Supreme Court has decided to listen to this case, and of course this is going to determine whether other states, like including Maine, are going to be able to take President Trump's name off the ballot for the primary. Now this is not for the general election if he becomes the nominee for president, but if they allow him to be taken off in the primary, they would be able to take him off for the regular election too. I think the same argument would be made. They're not saying it's just for the primary. They're saying basically they should be able to take his name off due to insurrection, that he has committed insurrection against the United States. So by February 8th, we will have had Iowa has their caucuses on January 15th. That's just the Republicans. Then the New Hampshire primary is on January 23rd. And then the Democrats have a South Carolina primary, but then it is February 8th. We have the Virgin Islands and Nevada will have their caucuses for the Republican Party. So we definitely have states already starting to cast ballots on who they want to elect as the Republican nominee for President of the United States. And this is all going to start coming down fast. We have Colorado down here on March 5th. And also Maine is on March 5th. So the Supreme Court needs to get this out there. And so they're going to listen to the court case on February 8th. There'll be oral arguments. There'll be some indication on kind of, as they ask questions, you're going to start getting a feel. There's going to be a lot of speculation on where the justices are going to kind of land on this. Usually you can kind of tell some things by how they ask the questions. Sometimes they'll ask questions that devastate the argument of one side. You know, like, can you give me any reason why this shouldn't be the way I vote? You know, they don't telegraph it quite that much, but they kind of ask questions that kind of lead things that way. So here's the thing. There's really only two ways this really goes down. I don't really see a middle road. They're either going to say, Colorado, Maine, you can't do this. Other states, you cannot take somebody's name off the ballot unless they've either been convicted of treason or something like that. But Donald Trump hasn't been convicted of anything. He's been accused of something, but nobody's actually convicted him. He hasn't been convicted by the Senate. He hasn't been convicted by any court. So where exactly? So Colorado is just taking it upon themselves to say, you know, we think so-and-so is guilty of something, so therefore we're going to just take their name off the ballot, which really opens the door for a lot of other stuff to happen, doesn't it? Why wouldn't Texas just say, you know what? Well, we think Biden's committed treason, so we're going to take his name off the Democrat ballot. Well, that would be kind of a big blow to Biden, wouldn't it? Texas has got quite a few votes. What about Florida? What happens if a whole bunch of Republican states retaliate against the Democratic Party for doing this? And then suddenly we have all the Democrat states jumping on board and blocking whichever candidate they... This is not how the system is supposed to work. And we have a lot of prominent Democrats coming out there and saying, hey, we can't do this. This is not a box that we want to open. This is not going to end well because, you know, we've seen this before where Democrats have started something and then they don't like how it works when the shoe's on the other foot. They did not like seeing the cloture rule used to close discussion in the Senate on judicial appointments to the Supreme Court, but they're the ones who issued the cloture rule for judicial appointments under the Supreme Court. And so when the Republicans just said, oh, well, you know, if you can do it for district judges, we can do it for the Supreme Court. And Democrats didn't like that at all. In fact, they cried bloody murder on that. But when they started doing that in the first place, it was Mitch McConnell who said, you will not like where this ends up. You better not do this. And they did it anyway. And then you just see that whenever you have the impeachment hearings against Donald Trump with no real evidence, and they do this witch hunt, and then suddenly when the Republicans have control of the House and they start doing basically the same thing, arguably with more evidence, suddenly Democrats are crying bloody murder. And it's like, you started this. You politicized the impeachment process. And now you can't, you know, you open that box. Now the shoe goes on the other foot. And you used it as an inquisition tool to find a crime. And now you can't say that other parties aren't supposed to do that. So we have, the Supreme Court's going to have to make a decision, one side or the other. They're going to have to say, you know, Democratic states, you can't do that. You can't just take people's name off, which is probably where they're going to land. One, because it's a conservative court right now. You know, appointments were made during Donald Trump's presidency. And then two, there's this whole, not only is it conservative, but it's kind of unthinkable that states can do that, right? I mean, what are they really basing that off of? They're basing it off what they've heard on MSNBC, what they heard on CNN. There's no court, nobody has actually convicted him. And yet they're going to use the allegations as justification for his removal. That's really, really not a good idea. So I think they're going to toss it out and they're going to say, states, you need to stop playing this game. You can't do that. But if they choose the other way, if they say, well, we don't want to stand in the way of states got their rights, I can kind of see how they're coming up with that, so we're not going to stop Colorado or Maine or any other states that want to do this. If that happens, it's going to be an outcry, isn't it? What good is an election if you can't vote for the person you want to vote for? So, which side is going to get absolutely outraged here? Which side is going to cry and then riot? I mean, basically, that's what's going to happen. Let's just be honest. On either side of this, there's going to be chaos. If the Republicans can't vote for who they want to vote for, that's going to be a problem. That's going to be a problem. If elections aren't allowed to solve disagreements and decide who governs, then it's just a dictatorship. It's a tyranny, right? But if Colorado and Maine get their hands slapped on this one, you can imagine how there would be a bit of an outcry on the other side, won't there? They've been amped up so much by this. They've been like, yeah, this is absolutely true. This is absolutely true. And everyone's kind of on that side, well, a lot of people are on that side are going, yeah, okay, so it logically follows we take his name off the ballot. What happens when they get told they can't do that? When the Supreme Court's like, yes, so he hasn't done that. You can just imagine how furious people will be. I mean, the fact that they're hissing mad right now that the gay president of Harvard had to resign because of plagiarism and all sorts of other stuff, and basically saying it's not against the code of conduct at Harvard to advocate genocide against the Jewish people. That's, if anyone should be fired, she should have been fired, but she was forced to resign, which is, she should be fired, right? Not forced to resign, fired. She should be fired. But that didn't happen. But even this, the political pressure, they're foaming at the mouth over this. Imagine what happens if they get this taken away from them. That they are forced to print ballots in Colorado with Donald Trump's name on it. In Maine, in other states. They will be very, very upset. So we got some stuff happening, and it's going to happen relatively quickly. So we got a month before the Supreme Court's going to hear this case, and then how many days after that till they issue a decision? It probably won't be that day. It may be a couple days after. They do like to drop those things on the weekend so that everyone's free to go protest peacefully. I don't know why they like dropping those on Fridays. They should really drop them on a Monday. Keep more people off the streets. But there'll be people gluing themselves to pavement all over the United States. I think we should absolutely ban the glue that they're using. And I don't know. I don't know what to say to you, but we are going to see this whole chaos of the United States ramp up quite a few notches. And if we see, as Iowa, New Hampshire, and Nevada come out, if we see Donald Trump take a large lead, that's also going to cause conniptions amongst certain people, right? So we're going to have a lot of strong emotions coming out over the next month. And then as we roll into Super Tuesday, it could just go off the charts. And that's just less than 1 month after February 8th. So we got a lot happening. Hang on to your boots. Hang on to your goods, because things are going to get a little bit squirrely and a little bit crazy. Let us know down in the comments down below what you're thinking about what's going to happen. Is it going to pop off by February 8th? Are we looking at civil war? Are we looking at just mass demonstrations? Are we looking at the Black Lives Matter mostly peaceful protests again? What do you think is going to happen? And what happens if the other side wins? Well, enjoy this month because things are kind of normal so far, but things may not be for much longer. Hopefully you guys are getting stocked up. Hopefully you're getting prepared for what's coming and you're thinking ahead. All right, friends, thanks so much for watching. If you want to check out another video from this channel, there's one right up here. I'll see you over there, or I'll see you guys later. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report, out.